sorry. Now, Pavarotti was a good friend.
Hello. Welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. As a disclaimer, this channel is for entertainment purposes. These are my opinions. I'm not here to slander anyone. And with that being said, let's get started. Now, hey, check this out, folks. Calling all cars, be on the lookout for a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. Or a later model will work if you find a suitable candidate inside. In all seriousness, what I want to discuss today is that little document that came out the other day that a lot of people out there are discounting. And that was Miss Ann Taylor's response to the prosecution's motion to limit witnesses. Now, that came out a couple of days ago. I've been looking at that court portal for a few days now. Still haven't seen the actual motion from the state. Now, some people have suggested this is laziness on, the employee who actually uploads this thing to the portal. I'm thinking something else has happened in regards to this. As you go through and you look at all the motions and the responses and everything in this case, so much of it is redacted, sealed, so that we have no idea what's really going on. Folks, I believe that this response to the state's motion is actually one of those documents. I think it was supposed to be sealed. I think it was uploaded to the court portal by mistake. That one wasn't for our eyes, I truly believe. Because if it was, for two reasons. Number one, if it was, why wouldn't the state's motion be uploaded as well? And number two, because of the information that pertains in this actual document. I don't think it was for our eyes to see. And let me show you why. Because this one's so much different than the rest of them, as I told you the other evening. As we go through this, let me pull it up here. I've got a lot of new toys now. I just got to figure out how to use them all. Once I do, they're in trouble. Let's see here. What did I do with it? Oh, that's me. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, the state's motion. The state contends that the affidavit of probable cause is irrelevant at this stage. Okay, so what in the heck could have possibly been in the prosecution's motion to limit witnesses? Now, first of all, whose witnesses are they limited? You wouldn't think the prosecution would be trying to limit its own witnesses, do you? Maybe they're trying to really make this thing fair. Say, Judge, I want you to make sure that I can't, put too many witnesses on the stand. That would go against Mr. KOHBERGER. No, this is for the defense to limit their witnesses. Wonder what witnesses that he's hoping to limit in this case. Well, I think we can figure out pretty easily the witnesses that he's wanting to limit, because the defense's witnesses are all going to try to refute the probable cause affidavit. And whatever the state said in that motion clearly describes that probable cause affidavit as irrelevant at this stage. So, discrediting things in the probable cause affidavit, according to the state, won't have any bearing on the case. Now, a lot of the critical minds out there say, well, yes, it will, because if you could eliminate the probable cause affidavit evidence, then that will eliminate the search warrants that they got on Mr. Kohberger. Well, let's think about it. What search warrants did they get on Mr. Kohberger in the probable cause affidavit? Simply the cast records, right, for the phone. So, now I'm sure if Mr. Kohberger's team is able to prove that he wasn't at the residence between 4 and 4:20 a.m. that morning, well, then the prosecution would certainly want to limit their witnesses in that regard, because he doesn't want them to prove that, because then he would have to change the timeline of when the atrocity took place. But other than that, the only other warrant was for historical CAS data, right? It didn't show any other warrants for Mr. Kohberger in that probable cause affidavit. And let's talk about all this hidden stuff in this case as well. You know, the IGG is not really something that is hidden, is it? Because that's what they're going to point at a lot. That's what a lot of people point at. They say the IGG is the witness, it's the informant. Well, the IGG has been discussed thoroughly in court, in the media. It's not a secret. They're about to have upcoming hearings on the IGG, and they're going to have those open. Now, I'm pretty sure that they want you to believe that IGG is the secret in this case. But I find that really hard to believe, considering all of the motions to seal and the grant of the motions to seal by both the prosecution and the defense, and the gag order and the redactions. Something tells me the IGG is the red herring in this. However, when you go through that probable cause affidavit, as I've mentioned in the past, you can see they clearly didn't get to Mr. Kohberger until December 23rd. They're going to say it was the IGG that led to him in public, but we all know that isn't the case. Well, I know that isn't the case. A lot of you know that isn't the case. So let's look a little bit deeper into this thing right here, because I'm just going to take one case study, okay? Now, when we look at the cases that Ms. Taylor cites, she says the state cites no authority for their claim. By the way, the state just says, that's just the way it is. The probable cause affidavit is irrelevant. We say so. No authority for their claim. Mr. Kohberger has the ability to challenge probable cause affidavits in this matter that were used to procure warrants. So they're wanting to fight those warrants that they procured on his, looks like on his phone, and every subsequent warrant after that. It's like a domino effect. They didn't get the phone warrants, they wouldn't have been able to get this. Let's get the case thrown out. Well, the first case that Ms. Taylor cites is State versus Thompson, 114. Now, when she cites this case, though, you'll see next to it in parentheses, and I've had so many people tell me, well, she's just citing case law. They're just citing that so they can get search warrants thrown out. I said, okay, so this other stuff that she puts in here then, if that's the case, has no relevance. No relevance whatsoever. So I wonder why she puts in there then, in parentheses, finding informer's reliability a relevant issue as it related to probable cause for a wiretap. That must be the synopsis for the case, right? Yeah, she's just citing the case, and then that in parentheses there is just kind of the synopsis for the case. So that's why it's there. Other than that, no relevance. Let's take a look at that State versus Thompson case then. And let's see how the synopsis of that thing explains Ann Taylor's statement right here, shall we? That'll be fun. Okay, let's see. State versus Thompson. Wow, you know what? State versus Thompson, there's a whole lot in it. And instead of me reading 13 pages to you, I'm going to go ahead and surmise it. All right? Summarize it. Surmise? I'm not going to surmise anything from it. I'm going to summarize it. Surmise it. Okay. It starts off with, they got a search warrant for a wiretap. Okay? Said that in Ann's statement, right? That's what she's wanting to get thrown out. Showing they got a search warrant for a wiretap thrown out. But why did that search warrant for that wiretap get thrown out? Well, you got to read through there. And you'll see that it indicates that the FBI used what was it? Is it called a pin tap? Hold on just a second. I got to go back up here because I don't want to say the wrong thing because people don't like it when I say the wrong thing. Pin register. Okay, use of a pin register is a search warrant under the Idaho Constitution. Okay, so what happened in this case? Well, they thought that Miss Thompson was selling drugs and dealing in basically marijuana. This case was 1988. Okay, she went way back in time to look up this one. But they thought she was selling marijuana and she was using her phone to do so. So they put a pin register on her phone. That pin register showed the calls that were coming in and the calls that were going out, where they were going, who they were coming from, and the volume of calls. And then based on the volume of calls and who they were calling, apparently known, drug dealers, they obtained a search warrant so that they could put a wiretap on Miss Thompson's phone. Okay, so once they got the wiretap, they verified that she was using her phone to sell drugs and they arrested her. Okay, they got it all thrown out though. And was the key this pin register? No. See, you have to really look at the whole case. I've seen people pull this up and go through, and they got to that pin register and that was enough for them. Then they went all the way to the bottom and read the last little part, and then that was the end of it. Yeah, but you can't do that because when you look at what she had written in parentheses, it started with informant's reliability. Well, that pin register has nothing to do with informer's reliability. So where the heck is that in this case? All right, so if you read a little further, you'll see that first of all, they threw it out because when they looked at the probable cause, they looked at the probable cause to get the search warrant for the wiretap, the court cited that the use of the pin register was not sufficient probable cause to issue the warrant for the wiretap that was issued. But that wasn't the key because it said that in of itself. It needed something to corroborate it. So when you go way down to the bottom of this case and you read through everything, you find what Miss Taylor is referencing, even though it's just a small portion of it. But because this couldn't be corroborated along with the pin register, they found the search for the wiretap to be unconstitutional, threw it out, suppressed it. So we go all the way down here, and you have to really dig through this case to find what she was referring to when she cited the case. The affidavit also stated, through various other independent sources of information, we have confirmed that Judy Thompson is using the telephone or telephone devices to transmit types, quantities, and prices and or any other means used to distribute or sell the illicit drugs. No further identification of these various other independent sources of information or their reliability was contained in the affidavit. Who are these various other sources that they can't verify the reliability of? Let's see. Oh no, let me read through here. I've got to find it. Okay, here we go. Also, the statement of the officer that various other independent sources of information confirm that Thompson was using her telephone for dealing in marijuana is not a substantial basis for probable cause, since there is no indication of the veracity, reliability, or source of knowledge of these other sources. As this court pointed out in State versus Johnson Supra, even under the totality of circumstances test, the veracity, reliability, and basis of knowledge of the person supplying hearsay information are all highly relevant in determining the value of this report and in making the determination of probable cause. So, I'm not going to go through the other two cases that she cited and put those statements in the paragraph next to them right now. But whenever she cites a case and she points out informer's reliability on getting a wiretap, she's saying, I'm going to make an argument against what the prosecution is saying in his motion, whatever the heck he's saying, because we don't really know. And that argument is going to consist of the relevancy of what I just read to you in this case that she's citing. So what she is saying is this person that was selling drugs and other people told the police that she was and she was using her phone. Well, that's not sufficient evidence for probable cause to get the search warrant for the wiretap. Very interesting that she would use those specific words, isn't it? Now, here's something that I said a while back. Take a listen. The first one kind of paints the picture of what this discussion is. It says, we've talked to 2 grand jury members, and that helped us settle our nerves a lot. The evidence in this grand jury that's so secret that undoubtedly convinced these grand jurors to indict Mr. KOHBERGER on 4 capital murder charges. Well, could it be my favorite text? It was the informant that took him down. He didn't plan on getting caught. So this confidential informant, and by the way, if you... Yeah, now let's talk about them old Steve G texts. Now, I know what I'm going to hear right off the bat. Wait, Pavarotti, those Steve G texts, them things have been debunked. Have they really? What hasn't been debunked in this case? Everything that we've heard in this case has supposedly been debunked by anybody that wants to believe they've been debunked. Heck, you know what? The prosecution itself just debunked the whole probable cause affidavit, their own. Just debunked it. It's irrelevant. Wasn't true. Heck, they wasn't stalking nobody, he said in court a while back. I mean, they debunked their whole probable cause affidavit. So, am I really to believe those Steve G texts have been debunked? Debunked by who? Steve G? Well, heck yeah, I bet they're debunked by him because he wouldn't want that information to get out. He wasn't sending it to the whole world. He was sending it to one person. So I would go debunk that real quick if I was Steve G as well. Folks, you got to understand what's going on here. All of the secrets in this case they don't want you to know. Is the secret the IGG? If it is, that's the worst secret they've ever told because everybody knows that secret and it's irrelevant. It's not even in that debunked PCA, right? It's already been ruled inadmissible in court. Why are they fighting still over the IGG? Well, there's only one reason that could possibly be. Because they want to keep the IGG in front of you so that you don't dig in deeper to what is not being told to you. Why? Look, I'm gonna wrap up with this one, okay? Because something else happened this week. Do y'all know what it is? I'll give you a hint. What should I be discussing right now? How about information that came out about those closed court hearings that are taking place this week? Why aren't we discussing that? Oh, that's right. Because at the very last minute, they canceled those court hearings this week. I wonder why. Anybody know? They may have put out a statement saying why. Do you believe it? Here's what I heard on mainstream social media.
Close both court hearings to the public. Why would he do that? The defense team wants to keep the hearings public. Why would the benefit be for them to keep it closed and keep all this behind closed doors?
I think the judge is very aware of the amount of media attention that this case has been getting, especially on the internet. There's a lot of cyber sleuths, if you want to call them that, who've been following this case and just dissecting every piece of information that's been released. So these hearings, at least one.
Well, why would they cancel the court hearings because of all of the YouTube sleuths? That don't make any sense, does it? Wait, or does it? Does it make sense? I can tell you folks, one thing that does have them puckered up is they never thought that their confidential informant would actually be found out before trial. In fact, I can tell you, they didn't think anybody would find out about that confidential informant. Not even the people he's informing on. I've put them out there though, folks. Their initials are TF and TR. And as soon as I found them and put them out there, you can bet everybody up there is puckered up. And here's the bad thing is I'm the only one that actually put them out there. I'm the only one that talks about them. So guess what? I'm on a little island out there all on my own. Watch out for Pavarotti. If you don't see him on YouTube making videos, let's hope he's okay. But when I did that, I promise you, I threw a wrinkle into the plans of this case. And I'm not just trying to toot my own horn and say I'm Superman, because it wasn't really hard for me to find, because I knew what I was looking for. But when they say the court hearings were canceled because of the YouTube sleuths, I'm not saying it's me, but I am saying that I do believe that this response to state's motion was a document that was supposed to be under seal. They posted it to the portal by mistake. That's why you don't see state's motion. And they did that the night before the trials were supposed to happen. We jumped on it quick, and they know it. I think they went into court and went, oh no. They're going to figure out what the heck's really going on. We need to reschedule these court dates. We need to get the IGG out in front of them. Heck, let's go ahead and make that court date an open one. We want them to hear all about that IGG. We got to do some damage control in this one. I'm going to wrap up with that. Folks, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please post your comments, post your criticisms, post your thoughts. I enjoy reading them. And until next time, Pavarotti's out.